Hey, can we talk about informational text, teaching nonfiction reading passages? I know. This is such a stimulating, riveting conversation to have. Oh, darling, you mustn't tickle my fancy in such a way. Okay, so most schools have, well, I say most schools, most districts, most teachers have standards, academic standards that cover informational texts, reading informational text. Students are constantly being assessed on how well they comprehend nonfiction passages. And I'm holding this up as an example of one. As you can see, it's just a small informational text passage. If you have basal readers, this would be like an example of a basal reader. Unfortunately, not all basal readers, not all basal readers are made equal, okay? Some have lots of fiction stories, short stories like poems or fables, such and such, but they don't have good nonfiction passages, especially for 3rd, 4th, and 5th upper elementary, right? So let's talk about nonfiction passages, teaching them. If you have students that struggle with them, hate them, if you as a teacher are looking for some really engaging, high interest nonfiction passages and how you can get better at teaching them, this video is for you, my darling. So the first piece of advice that I would give in teaching nonfiction reading is to introduce a variety of topics, having a lot of high interest topics about events, people, facts, even things like Spider-Man's birthday. That really keeps your students engaged with informational text. The second thing that I always do when I am planning my nonfiction reading is I offer printable and digital copies of passages, magazines, online articles. Even here what you're seeing, some of my nonfiction reading passages. Students can read and color code the answers online as well as on paper. That's another tip for teaching informational text. The third teaching tip is to allow your students to color code their passages as they read and as they answer the questions. This is especially helpful for kids who struggle with close reading skills, referring back to the text. Whether it is a printable or digital format, I have my students highlight, training them to go back to the passage to look for their answers, especially as they practice defining vocabulary words in the informational text. Instead of making something up off the top of their head, my students are going back to look for the answers and then color coding it based on whatever the question or the passage is asking them. And this has been a highly effective teaching tip for upper elementary students practicing their nonfiction reading. So those are my quick tips for teaching nonfiction reading, informational text, whatever you call it in your school or district. I actually have more blog posts about helping students that struggle with reading on my website, www.thebutterflyteacher.com. I'll be sure to link those in the description box below. And of course, you can grab the nonfiction informational text passages that I showed in this video from my Teachers Pay Teachers store, Tanya G. Marshall, the Butterfly Teacher. Hopefully these tips were helpful for you, but please let me know in the comments below what's one area that you feel like is the biggest struggle for you teaching nonfiction reading. And always, if you have not heard this recently, let me say you are important. The work that you are doing is hard work. Being a teacher is not easy. So me salute you for doing an amazing job teaching your students. I appreciate you. I thank you. And we're going to get through this. Okay? So hopefully I'll hear from you or see you again soon back here on my channel. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please give this video a thumbs up, share it out with your teacher friends, and I will see you in the next one.